Hey, y'all.
So here's some so so here's something that I thought we would never see. I never once thought that we would have the literally like a pony. I almost want to say recreation of a ticked off Star Wars fan meeting George Lucas
I
because that
totally see that.
because like I love Star Wars, but it has to have one of the most toxic fan bases. I mean, not I'm not saying we're much better because I mean I love the show and its fan is pretty cool, but the Star Wars fan base, those guys are brutal. And as soon and I'm like, okay, I can dig that it's whatever, but as soon as he brought up like original trilogies and stuff that the later books got wrong, I was just like, okay, there is no stopping this comparison train going on now. Like,
Yeah.
no,
No,
like,
what's
and no, I was
no,
just gonna make like a Jake Lloyd. I was just gonna make like a Jake Lloyd joke or something.
oh, okay. Well, actually, it's kind of funny because one of the guys that I watch for like Star Wars stuff, he also does like Pixar theories and whatnot. But John Solo, if you guys ever heard of him, and he actually did a Q&A. And one of the questions that was asked was, what's the worst part do you think about Star Wars? And he said it's actually the fandom that goes along with it because there's way too many people that are just constantly complaining and all that stuff. And I totally agree with that. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
I
things
mean,
wrong with the Star Wars fans.
oh yeah, and I'm not like so unaware that I don't see the irony of complaining about fans that complain. But at the same time, and Friendship is Magic has a similar problem too, where it's like, after what the second season, you had people to this day, you have people saying that the show dropped in quality, and there, I know for a fact there are still people that never like watched past the third season or just never watched anything after the second season. And I mean, I get it, to each their own, but the point I'm trying to say is like what was that dude's name? Squibble?
Yeah, Squibble Pants. No, Quibble Pants.
Oh, I get squibble, like squibble squabble, like argument and stuff. Okay, but I was gonna say, yeah, I would say Squibble is the character that I don't think any of us realized that we needed or deserved. Because here's the thing, they deliberately tried making him super annoying throughout the episode, and they did. But I like that they didn't just make him like. I'm glad they didn't like Teen Titans Go it, where they have this character that voices the criticism of the fans, and they make them the bad guy. And then you
Hmm.
have the person defending the show, which is Rainbow Dash, being made into like a patron saint that's destroying the evil criticizer. No, if anything, Friendship is Magic has always been able to take any criticisms that it's had with pretty good stride, and this episode shows that.
Oh,
It,
totally.
I mean, the episode was good. I feel like I like it a little more for the meta more than anything, but
Hmm.
but let's get down to it. So it starts off with Twilight reading a story to Rainbow Dash,
Yeah,
as you
it's
do.
and it's like and it's this whole thing of like, remember you read iPack, that was the deal. And I see again where and what's interesting is that the book that they're reading, it's Daring Do getting that key that we'll see later in the episode. Um, but what's interesting is that Twilight says, I have to deal with the friendship summons with Celestia at Griffin Stone, and I'm just like, so Griffin Stone. Well, at least she's getting her wish from season 5 because she gets to
Yeah, I
now
know.
go see Griffin
I
Stone.
Yeah, I noticed that later. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that that she's more bummed more bummed about missing a convention? Which, believe me, I know that feeling. But she gets to like go to a place she wanted to go to and like learn stuff. I'm like, priorities, Twilight. Come on, this is for diplomacy crap stuff.
This is a
That's why.
diplomatic mission. I'm a
Yeah,
part of the rebel. You are. It's like I am. I'm trying to think what Leia said in the original movie. It's
something like this is a
I'm on a
diplomatic
diplomatic
cruiser or
mission to
something.
Alderaan. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like you are part of the rebel alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Take her away.
But now, even though she gets to go see Griffin Stone, she probably already had the magic ruined because Dash and Pinky probably told her it's a total dump. Don't expect much. But again, you look at this and it's like it's a Daring Do convention, and it's like, oh, that sucks. That really does suck that she can't go to this. And I love how Dash is trying to console her, just be like, it's good. It's nice to be excited for something, but it's not that much to get so excited over. And then it switches over to her in the vendor hall, just grinning from ear to ear. And it's just so awesome. I'm just like, hey, that's the vendor hall from Ciderfest.
Probably. I wouldn't know because I never got to go. I mean, that's not your fault, but
yeah, because
I'll never know whether or not if I'm taller than you. I never really been to these conventions. Now I'll never know whether or not I'm taller than you, which is actually a serious question that I ask myself sometimes. Because in my family, I'm one of the taller ones, but among my friends, I'm one of the shorter ones. So,
kind of interesting.
Yes. It's definitely an issue that I felt was worth bringing up in our review.
Totally.
But anyway, so yeah. Okay, sorry. So they go to the convention, and then Rainbow Dash, she's like, she's chilling out, maxing all cool, whatever. Then she meets
playing b-ball outside of the school.
when there was an uptight pony who was up to no good, he started making trouble in the neighborhood. They got in one little fight about a fandom, and then they both got pissed, and they're like, I think it's best if we go our separate ways.
So they're.
I mean, that is what happens.
One of the things. But... Yeah. So Dash to this. Well, first of all, she goes up to this spokesman that is like, hey, you want to go on an edumacation with, the Daring Do books, and she subtly nods to Daring Do. She's just like, no thanks, been on one already. And then she goes to this little area that's from the first book, where it's the floor tiles, where she hits the wrong one, and you have streamers coming out the sides, and fog machines turning on. And I'm just like, that is just so awesome.
I love how all this stuff, I love how they just completely Chekhov's gun it. All this stuff that they're showing, legit plays a part in the story, in the last act. And when they were doing all that, I was just like, oh my God. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. So she meets up with Quibble Pants. And what's interesting is for that entire little montage where they were going around the vendor hall, buying things, and Dash sees a body pillow of Daring Do tied up. I'm just like, oh dear Lord, Japanese anime body pillows are canon in this realm. Oh dear Lord.
And I know for a fact it doesn't make it for this fandom.
It doesn't make it any better that it's Daring Do tied up. It just makes it all the more disturbing.
And some people brought this up as a joke, but did you realize that it seems in all the Daring Do episodes, especially Daring Don't, they really have a thing for having Daring Don't tied up?
Yeah, I can totally see that. But again, maybe they're subtly...
It's like...
No, go on.
I would say, geez, it's like old school Wonder Woman bad, where like you couldn't where like from her debut in the '40s, you couldn't have a cover or a plot without her getting not captured necessarily, but just like tied up. Of course, her
Yeah, I
creator
know.
had a
I
thing
was
for.
about to say Wonder Woman because she was an Amazonian originally, and there's just bondage everywhere. But what's interesting is I don't know if this is in like one of the Justice League cartoons or if it's in what is it? Not the Justice League cartoon, but like one of the DC animated movies or
Are
whatever.
you talking
There's a
about the
point.
Justice League movie by Warner Brothers Studios coming out next year?
No,
Sorry, man.
no,
I
it's
gotta
one
plug
that
my
was from a couple years back.
I gotta plug my comic book company, man.
Well, at
We
least it'll
have
probably be better than Batman v Superman.
dude. Suicide Squad's gonna be better than Batman v Superman.
Oh yeah, I want to see
I mean,
Suicide Squad. Anyway,
don't get me wrong.
but
I
there's
like
a,
BVS for the most part, but
yeah, but there's a scene in like one of the movies or Unlimited or whatever where she literally is going toe to toe with this other female, ties this other girl's hands behind her back, and gets her all like face down, ass up, and everything, and she is totally like jamming her elbow into this woman, and Wonder Woman's going submit, and I'm just like, oh dear lord,
it's
calm
like, oh
down,
well,
okay.
it's like, oh, she'll submit, all right.
But anyway, back to what we were saying.
Yeah,
Can you see we love going off of tangents? That's why we work so well. Um,
that's either why we work so
we're
well or
we're
work so
total
bad.
nerds, depending on who you ask.
Well, yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say depends.
um, but anyway, one thing I do want to say first off, though, and I should have said this at the beginning, but oh well, I need to apologize for a couple things. One, um, the reason I kind of freaked out last time was because there was a small emergency that I had to deal with, and during that emergency, I just had to make sure that everything was okay, and I just kind of freaked out, so I apologize for that. Um, two of the
Yeah,
other
man,
things, though, is that
he discovered he's a father.
I discovered the lost treasure of Griffin Stone. Um, but one of the other things I want to say and apologize for is that I forgot to mention that Lightning Bliss was in that fan fiction podcast with Toon Critic, so I apologize for that. Sorry, Blissy, I wasn't trying to leave you out. And then also a few episodes back, when I mentioned the Corvio Atano or whatever, that if you don't know Assassin's Creed, whatever, that was bad on my part. That's actually one of my friend's surnames. And I'm just like, why did I mix that up? But anyway.
But yeah, so the two reached their disagreement where she's just like, dude, all the books are cool. And then he's just like, dude, only the first 3 books are cool. And then my first thought was, okay, so Patton Oswalt is part Star Wars elite, is part Brony and part Red Letter Media. Okay, cool. But
Daring Do and the Troubled Towers is the worst thing since my son. I love Red Letter Media. He is so funny.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
he can be. You know, he's like every fat nerd ever. But the difference is that
but if you really think about it, that was one of the only good things that Tommy Oliver ever did was reference him in his Equestria Girls movie review.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
But one thing I want to say, even beforehand, before they have the disagreement, they're going around, and the whole time they're going around shopping and looking at different items and stuff, I'm just like, are they trying to ship these characters? Because they just look so happy and laughing and all that stuff. And again, it is because Stallion Mare, our fandom loves to ship everything. Um,
Yeah, that's for
but
sure.
one thing I do want to mention in the background when they have their first disagreement is in the background you have this pony that's giving like coconut milk drinks or whatever, but on the side they have carrot rollers instead of hot dog rollers. And it's little carrots
Oh my
spinning
god.
around on these rollers. I'm just like, this is a hotel, not a gas station. Why is that happening? But whatever. So they get into their disagreement, and Dash goes to the main concierge of the hotel and is like, hey, I need to speak to AK Yearling because it's an emergency. And she, convenient, just so happens to round the corner, grabs Dash, and it's like, we can't talk here. We need to go into my presidential suite. She starts closing the windows, and it's like, Caballeron's back, and he's trying to find where Caballeron's back, and he's trying to find the key that I have that unlocks the temple and the treasure behind it. And I'm just like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And Dash is just like, you need to help me with this one pony that's constantly trying to tell me that the first trilogy isn't good and that the other books are unrealistic. And I'm just like, that is everyone like going up to any panel with voice actresses going, can you read my fan fiction, please? I totally got that from there.
And I love how I love how AK Yearling's response is literally, I don't care.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah, in this scenario,
something like that.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I know in this scenario that she, she literally does have more important things to worry about. But half the time, when like people bring up to creators, that's that's their thing. Like if you bring up the prequel trilogy to like the original trilogy cast or something like that, they'll just be like, okay, you don't like it, that's cool.
Yeah, because they weren't involved with it. They don't see everything that went on with the production of it. So, I mean, they probably saw the movies, but they're not rabid fanboys.
That's like that's like Harrison Ford had the best reaction to that when like one time on Jimmy Kimmel they were talking about how Jimmy Kimmel brought up how fans say this and fans say that about how great he is and how like this or like things they wish that or like things about Han Solo, blah blah. And Harrison Ford was just like, he's just like, you want to know my opinion on it? He's like, yeah. And he goes, I don't care.
I was remember the one where he was on like Jay Leno or something, or he's on like the Late Show or whatever, and you have a guy dressed as Chewie coming down the aisle, and he's just like, you sack of shit. You couldn't keep it in your furry little pants. I lost my voice, you sack of shit.
That was, I wonder if that's canon.
I don't know. But
something happened between Leia and Leia and Han in between episodes 6 and 7. I mean, yeah, it's a 30-year gap, but something did.
But anyway, you have them arguing, and Daring Do shows Dash that she already has the key and trying to hide it from Caballeron. Dash goes back out to go on the hunt for Caballeron, and she notices one that's not really there, not really Caballeron, backs into Quibble, and they get into another argument. And
He's
Dash
like,
is like, no,
oh.
Cavaleron is actually here. And he's just like, yeah, sure. He's also right there, there, and there. And you
He's over
see
there, over
three
there, and up
different
there.
levels, three different levels of cosplay, from the horrendous to the really, really good. And I'm just like, yes, that is awesome. And um and then they they go to like this back area, and I got a vibe of Night of at the Museum from that back like trailer entrance there. And I'm just like, that is kind of cool. And they get captured before the first act ends. And I'm like, okay,
I
that's cool.
love, because, I know it's jumping around a bit, but I love that up to when they get captured, literally like the whole, well, it feels like 10 minutes before Daring Don't eventually saves them. I love how he is just picking everything apart. Like, I get it. Again, it's a case where
Yeah.
it's a case where he's supposed to be so annoying, you kind of want him to get hurt. And yeah, I did feel that sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just like, oh my God, man, he's riffing that better than the guys on the Mystery Science Theater crew. Like, this is
I
great.
know. Yeah. Or more recently, Rifftrax, if you want to talk about that.
Rifftrax
Which they did a really
is
good. They did a. Yeah, they actually did a. They did a Rifftrax on episode 1, by the way. If you guys want to see that, that's really funny.
yeah,
Um,
Rifftrax is Mike Nelson continuing to do God's work.
yes, pretty much. So they get to this little forest area, and Quibble is just like, oh no, we're captured. I can't believe this. And they get to a point where they get chained up. He takes his little, like, daring do pin, throws it against a rock, and all 4 of the ponies scatter. Of the hench ponies, they scatter, and Quibble is just like, oh no, it's Daring Do. Thank goodness. They all scatter, and then he's just like, wow, I didn't think it'd be all 4 of them. Another inconsistency. This is all just the edumacation. And I'm just like, that is every Brony analyst ever when they come across a bad episode and rip into it.
Yeah,
At least it's a
I
little
was gonna say
nitpick.
that's another thing that Squibble reminds me of is Brony analyst, because like that's why I've always said there's a difference between an analyst and there's a difference between an analyst, a reviewer, and a critic, because. Do you ever remember Brony Curious or Digi Brony talking about like an episode of Friendship is Magic they don't like, where they're the kind of people where it's like if they talk about a show, if they talk about an episode of the show that they like, they either treat it one or two ways. They're usually like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. This is why I love this show. Or it's like, it's pretty good. But whenever they talked about a bad episode, the way they talked about it, they gave off the impression like they hated every episode of the show.
Yeah, they're just like, it's not going by my creative intent and I deserve it. I'm just like, dude, shut up. If you don't like an episode,
now,
okay.
dude. I came across one of his episodes by accident. The dude looks the dude looks like he's some backwater cousin of Rob Zombie. He's got like long hair, like the mustache goatee thing. Like he looks like he's trying to cosplay as the Unabomber.
Pretty much. So anyway, they go and Dash is like, we're never going to escape from these chains in time, and somehow Quibble conveniently knows how to get the lock off. And it's just like, wow, that was fast. And they start running. They come across a rickety bridge, reference obviously to Temple of Doom. And it's like, oh, great, we have a precarious rope bridge. I wonder if there is a part that I'm going to step on that I will start to fall through. And it happens.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like he's calling out the cliches and they're happening, and that's funny. But like at the same time, he himself is doing like a lot of the cliches. So it's like this it's like this it's just like this cosmic back and forth. Like he calls out a cliche, but then he himself does a cliche. It's like it was really entertaining.
See cliche, do cliche.
See cliche, do cliche. Do we invented another
Like,
philosophy? Let's call Freud.
what do you think for? Oh, it's like I was thinking about Luigi talking back to Mario, where it's just like, oh, and you know what, father? Yeah, you can imagine that you went up against a wall, but it was just a dream you had. What would a Freud would say about that? Um, sorry, it's old Newgrounds Flash video. Um,
Man,
but you
Newgrounds is
get back,
dead now.
I know. Um, but it had our good videos before YouTube, so at least it had that.
That's for sure.
Um, so they they fall down like this waterfall or something like that, and conveniently, again, cliche wise, Quibble falls just enough so that he can land safely. He said before that Jerry Do with a broken wing can't deal with having to deal with can't handle falling from a waterfall in a barrel or whatever, falling from 6 stories and surviving. And Dash comes back to him again with this, and it's like, hey, now you can start to see that it's really realistic. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
yes.
with the fantasy to reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Is
double.
this the real? Is it
It's a
just
double fantasy.
Yep. It's a Final Fantasy.
It's a Final Fantasy 15 coming out in September.
Yep. Anyway, so Cavalaron and the hench ponies catch up to him, and they go into the temple that they just so happen to come across. And again, Quibble is just like, this can't be the edumacation. It's a cheap knockoff from second-rate performers that came from the school of bad acting and bad accents. And he starts stepping on these little things that are causing things in the temple to move. And he's calling out every single one. Cavalaron's like, watch where you're stepping. He steps back and is like, oh, sure, now there's going to be an Owizolo type monster that's going to be popping up behind me. And it does. And might I just say, I love the meta humor in this episode. It fits it so well. Because, again, it's calling DHX and Hasbro out on its bullshit in the episode. That is funny.
Yeah, I appreciate it when a company can laugh at themselves, because it's like you remember, you know how like Warner Brothers, like especially with movies like Batman vs Superman, they try to be all serious and stuff. Well,
the grim
one
and
of the
gritty.
things, one of the things that people liked about the Animaniacs and Bugs Bunny was that the Warner Brothers was able to make fun of itself, and be fun and lively, but then they started taking themselves, super seriously. But then they're like,
Still,
what?
I think the best line from Animaniacs is like, I got prints for you. No fingerprints. I don't think so.
Oh my God, I couldn't get away. They got away. I can't believe they got away with that. That's such a great play on words. I mean, they have better jokes than that, but that's still one of the best lines.
Totally. So then they get to the point where they get to the point where Daring Do saves them, and it's like Quibbles just looks at one look at both of them. And it's like, you two are friends, and the second best smug Dash face. First one being Daring Do, now this one wraps her wing around Daring Do, and she just has that nice like, hey, yeah, we're friends. Deal with it.
She's just like, yeah, I ship us. She's like self TP, son.
Yeah, I actually saw a picture of a changeling poking through like a ceiling tile, and it's that same expression. And I posted onto some of the Brony Facebook pages I have, and it's like, dude, are there any ponies going on here?
Oh my
It just
God.
looks like that kind of face that a pony would make if they were super high.
Ha! Oh man. Hey, I what was I gonna say? I just wanted to ask your opinion on something about what happens next. So I'm of the opinion that for the next 2 minutes, I'm sorry, but don't you think it was a little kind of that literally Daring Do only escaped because of Squibble and Rainbow Dash?
Yeah.
It was
best
cool.
like line of the episode.
Which one? There was a lot of good lines in this episode.
The one where he's skiing on the mud, and it's like, go around the creature, you can't go over it, and Daring Do and Dash do it anyway, and that's a giant reference to the speedboat scene from the speedboat scene in Last Crusade, which is honestly, by the way, my favorite of the original Indiana Jones trilogy. It just had everything I wanted in it.
Yeah, the first one's regarded as a classic, and the second one more than the third one, but the second and third one, they get their criticisms once in a while, but you know what? For being not as well received as Lost Ark, I swear I see more references to Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade than Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, yeah, it's in a making fun of them kind of way, but there's still like references nonetheless.
Totally. So, what was your complaint with Quibble being taken up by Dash and Daring Do? Like, do you want to kind of elaborate?
Oh no, it wasn't a complaint. It was just kind of like, and it's not even a like, wow, really? No, it was just like, it was kind of just like a seriously type moment, but for Daring Do, like she's like, wow, I never would have noticed that. Or like, wow, good idea, guys. How to blah blah. And Squibble and Dash were humble about it, but still, I was kind of just like, wait a minute, hold on. So you do four, and I think it's 4 or 5 or 6, whatever. Yeah. So you do 6 entire books all by yourself. And then this one that works practically the same as the first episode you're in and Daring Don't, but because I'm assuming AK Yearling's been doing this for a while. Well, for like eons now. And I don't know, I thought it was not dumb, but I thought it was just kind of like, what? But in like a funny way. Like just kind of like, wow, you must be it's like, damn, you're getting old, Yearling. That's like how
totally.
J.K. Rowling is 51 today, but I swear to God, she permanently looks like she's in her mid to late 30s.
Yeah, and considering she just wrote a new series and just released a new Harry Potter book, it's like The Lost Child or something like that. I got to see it early because I work at Amazon, but anyway, when they get out.
So then, sorry. Well, actually, I was gonna say when they get out, then then the most unrealistic thing happens in this entire episode. I'm talking, of course, about how you have the two different fans that agree to disagree and, remain to be friends. I'm sorry, this may be cynical of me, but that doesn't happen. Maybe in real life more than the internet, but I never really see. Because here's the thing I've learned in real life: even if it's a con, fans of certain things keep to themselves, and when they find those group of fans that are like them, they tend to, even if they're there alone, they tend to just stick with that. But like agreeing to disagree, I mean, like I said, I don't want to be kind of like a cynical dick, but like, and I'm saying this like partially in a satirical way and partially in like I am actually a little serious way. But that's why I'm like, okay, I can take the like 30-year veteran not knowing how to escape from a temple, and it's like I could take the cosmic cliches, but that's where I draw the line.
Here's the thing.
Fans don't coexist.
It very rarely happens where there's an agree to disagree.
Hold on, I got one more. Hashtag all fans matter. There you go.
Did you really just do that?
Living on the edge, Holmes, like it's an Aerosmith song.
Loving an elevator, living it up when I'm
going down. That's a good song.
Anyway, I love that song too.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Smith. Going down. I love that song. Anyway, you have it doesn't normally happen. It very rarely happens where it's an agree to disagree, but it does happen, just at a very, very small scale.
Man, I tell you what, though. Shoot, I forgot the guy we had on. I forgot his handle. The last guest that we had on.
Oh, Cynical Joe.
Yeah, Cynical Joe. I was gonna say for this next example, Cynical Joe could back me up on this. I just got recently in the Steven universe. Man, I have been in that fandom, and maybe it's just Tumblr, but that shit is volatile. Like people people thought bronies were bad between like 2011 and 2013. Dude, these guys like go to war with each other in that fandom.
Oh yeah, I know that. It's crazy to see.
I mean, it's hilarious to a degree, but then it's just like, wait a minute. Bronies have the love and tolerance thing, but Steven Universe literally preaches love and tolerance.
And it's just bull crap that the fandom is so volatile. I totally agree. Now, one of the other things, they actually sent death threats to this one girl because they didn't like her artwork. Like, they didn't like how she drew a certain character. It's like, that's freaking kidding me?
Yeah, that fandom is really, really, well, for lack of a better word, because I don't want to risk starting a war with them when I'm okay with the fandom and I like the show. But man, I tell you what, dude, that fandom is freaking picky.
Oh yeah, totally. So,
but anyway, so they agree to disagree.
They start walking, and the giant monster chases Cavalier on out, which is funny. And that's basically the end of the episode. And I'm just like, huh. That was really good. So, what do you think about it? And then you can give your score.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then what I thought was hilarious during the end credits where Squibble is talking about his fan fiction he wants to write.
Oh yeah, where he's talking about like, it can keep within the puzzle solving aspect and all that. I'm just like, read my fan fiction. Read my fan fiction. Please,
that was hilarious.
God, read my fan fiction.
That was hilarious to me because as he's explaining that, I remember like I felt like that old man that like shakes her head and goes kids. I was literally like, once a fan, once a fan, always a fan.
Totally.
But overall, I did like the episode overall. Definitely, definitely a pretty, definitely a good start for the second half of the season. Um, you know, it's like I said, I really feel like I appreciate the meta more than the story, but I love Squib. I like the legit like buddy bro ship that he had with Rainbow Dash. That was cool. AK Yearling wasn't nearly half the dick she was in her premiere episode. Well, AK Yearling's premiere episode, not Daring Don't, all the way back in season 1. But yeah, it was cool. I loved seeing Cavaleron again. That dude is just so 80s cheeseball bad guy. I remember seeing him in Daring Don't, and I was just like, I love this guy. Can we like have more of this guy? Like, I want to hear him I want to hear this guy read from a cookbook because his accent is so cool.
Yeah. First, you take the salt and the pepper and you put a dash of it in.
Then you put the lime in the coconut and proceed to drink it all up. But yeah, not
but
perfect.
Before that, you slip the roofie in,
Excuse me. So yeah, I liked it overall. Not perfect. I had a few like nitpicks, but they're like tiny and like not even worth mentioning. I think they don't really hold down the episode too much. But yeah, it was really solid. Give it about I give it which sounds weird because I'm about to say I give it an 8.5 on the grounds that it was a good episode. Not too strong. Not too great, but at the same time, I also I really appreciate it most from solely a writing aspect. Like the voice acting was good and the lines were, but like bigger picture, what the episode was trying to say, I really like that.
Yeah, most definitely. The thing with me, surprisingly, this is the first 10 I give this season because
hold up, we don't agree. We can't be friends anymore.
Oh my gosh! I guess this is the end of the Brony review show.
Oh my gosh, so cool. John, hold on, what's something to be like? OMG, John giving a good score. So cliche. Next, he's gonna talk about how he likes going to. Next, he's gonna talk about the next con he's going to.
Oh my gosh! And then you look at like. Honestly, when you were about to say that, I'm almost thinking, triggered. You triggered me.
Fan triggered.
Yeah. But I give this episode a solid 10 because it excuse me. It called Hasbro out on its bullcrap with meta humor. And every coincidence, while it was a coincidence, especially for this kind of story, it was still, hey, we're going to call it out so we can make a joke out of it. That's how you do good satire. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah, and it's like, it comes down to it like, it's like how TV Trope says it. Cliches aren't bad. It's just that, we've seen them so much that, it can be a little whatever. But any writing or plot device can be good if written good. Even a show like this where, perfect example, Titans Go has done a few episodes like this in their responses to criticism. And the show is loud and abrasive in the first place, but it really just shows like the two different ways to handle it. Where this side, yeah, Squibble was a little villainized, but like he still had good points in his argument. He just presented them real, what's the word? Like, just pretentious. But like, he
Mhm.
wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't a good guy. He's just the guy.
I'm bad
So
guy, but that does not mean I'm bad guy.
I was watching wrestling the other day, and I had to hear Roman Reigns cut a promo. So
Yeah, I can kind of tell where you're going with that. Okay, I'm sorry. Did you already score the episode?
yeah, I gave it an 8.5. Where it was a really good episode. I didn't think it was great, but it was a really solid. It was a really solid hoof forward.
We've actually gone full circle then. You want to know why?
Why?
Because those are very similar scores to what we have for Rarity Takes Manhattan. That I love the episode, but with you, you enjoyed it immensely. Everyone's telling it to be.
Oh, son of a God! We're getting old, man.
I know, right?
I'm growing more stern with my age, and you're growing more lenient.
Yep. By the way, guys, once we do finish off with season 6, every week after that, we'll be doing a review of the older episodes. So we have every single episode that we can review, which is going to be pretty awesome.
Oh, sweet. So we are doing that.
Yes, we are going to do that over the hiatus. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, hopefully the hiatus isn't for another 11 months.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That'll give us plenty of time, though.
That was ass-tarded, man.
Yep. So that's it from me, John.
And this.
Snakeskin, wake up!
Sorry, the space. I've been up for like the last 9 hours, man.
Oh joy.
Yeah, that's it from Snakeskin. Oh yeah, so really quick, do you think they'll do the Griffin Stone thing next episode?
That's a possibility. If they do, that'll be awesome.
Man, Frenchman's Magic sets up future plot lines like it's a DC movie. Is the director Jay Thirbrison, however you say his name, or Zack Snyder?
Totally. So, see y'all later.
Bye.